1985. Coca-Cola makes one decision. Just one. Weeks later, their phones won't stop ringing. Not with orders, with rage. A sitting US senator stands up in Congress and calls it a meaningful moment in American history over a can of soda. This is the story of New Coke. 99 years of trust gone in a single announcement. Clawed back in just 79 days. Stay till the end. The twist is stranger than the disaster itself. Here's the story in one breath. Coca-Cola replaces its secret 99-year-old formula. The public hates it, so much that Coke brings the old formula back in under 3 months. That's the headline. How it happened and what happens right after is where this gets wild. Rewind to the 1970s. Pepsi launches the Pepsi Challenge. Regular people, blindfolded, sip 2 colas with no labels. Again and again, they pick Pepsi. In 1972, 18% of soda drinkers say Coke is their favorite. Only 4% say Pepsi. A landslide. By the early 80s, that gap is almost gone. Pepsi's climbed to 11%. Coke is barely ahead at 12%. Market share tells the same story. Coke once controlled nearly 60% of the market. By 1984, it's crashed to 21.8%. Pepsi is right behind at 18.8%. The lead that used to feel untouchable is almost gone. Here's the irony nobody points out. 1985 is Coca-Cola's 100th birthday. They choose their own centennial year to kill the original recipe. So Coca-Cola panics, quietly, under a project so secret most employees never hear about it until it's done. For almost 2 years, they test a new, sweeter formula. Close to 200,000 people taste it blind. New Coke wins, 55 to 45. Tell people which cola is which, and the margin jumps to 61 to 39. Sounds like a win, right? Here's what nobody says out loud. Only 1 in 5 of those tests use the exact formula they're about to launch. And one more warning sign gets buried. Roughly 1 in 10 people don't just dislike the idea, they get angry. Angry enough to say they'd quit Coke completely. Coca-Cola sees that number and moves forward anyway. April 19th, 1985. Coca-Cola calls a press conference for 4 days later. They tell reporters to expect the biggest announcement in soft drink history. Somehow, the news leaks early. Pepsi doesn't waste a second. Their president takes out full-page ads in newspapers nationwide. The headline, "The other guy blinked." Pepsi is telling the entire country that Coke just admitted defeat. April 23rd. Lincoln Center, New York City. Coca-Cola's CEO, Roberto Goizueta, steps up and calls the new formula smoother, rounder, yet bolder, a more harmonious flavor. Reporters taste it and say what he won't. It tastes like Pepsi. You can feel the room turn. Within days, Coca-Cola's phones are flooded. Up to 8,000 calls a day. 40,000 angry letters follow. One man in Texas doesn't even bother calling. He drives to a bottling plant and spends $1,000 buying up every case of old Coke he can find. People start hoarding it like the world is ending. Protesters show up with signs. One reads, "Our children will never know refreshment." Another letter skips the formalities. It nicknames the CEO after an extinct, none-too-bright bird, then mockingly asks for his autograph. In Seattle, a man named Gay Mullins starts an entire organization, Old Cola Drinkers of America. He hands out pins with the new Coke logo crossed out. He collects thousands of signatures. By June, he takes it further. He sues Coca-Cola in federal court. A judge throws the case out in under a week. His reason, on the record? He personally prefers Pepsi. Here's the twist almost nobody knows. Gay Mullins spearheaded the entire fight against New Coke. Then, in a blind taste test of his own, he picks New Coke over the original. He liked the taste, he just couldn't stand losing the brand.
By July, Coca-Cola can't hold the line anymore. 79 days after that press conference, they call a second one. July 11th, 1985. News anchor Peter Jennings interrupts General Hospital, the most watched soap opera in the country, with breaking news. Coca-Cola is bringing back the original formula, calling it Coca-Cola Classic. President Donald Keogh takes the podium. It's such a big deal that a sitting US senator brings it up in Congress. Coca-Cola even compares the drink to love, pride, and patriotism. Out loud, on the record. Gay Mullins hears the news and says just 5 words. Well, I think we've won.
And people forgive Coke almost instantly. By the end of 1985, Coca-Cola Classic is outselling both New Coke and Pepsi. Within 6 months, Coke's sales are growing twice as fast as Pepsi's. Some researchers argue it wasn't Classic that saved them at all. It was Cherry Coke, launched around the same time, quietly stealing the spotlight. New Coke doesn't disappear right away, though. It limps along for years, gets renamed Coke 2 in 1992, finally discontinued in 2002. 17 years after it almost sank the company that made it. So, was this a genuine mistake, or the greatest marketing move ever pulled off on purpose? For decades, people whisper that Coca-Cola planned the entire disaster just to make the original formula more beloved than ever. The company has denied it every single time. Here's what's actually true. Coca-Cola didn't just sell a drink that April. They accidentally proved something much bigger. People weren't loyal to a taste. They were loyal to a memory. Maybe that's the real formula. Not sugar, not caffeine, just memory. 99 years to build that kind of trust. Just 79 days to almost lose it. And win it right back. That's New Coke. Still the most studied failure in business history.